So Gabe, where did you start off at? Like, what is your journey in the appliance world?
Oh, here we go. Here's my background. Several years ago, I used to do auto repair. I owned an auto repair shop in Western Colorado. And my wife at the time was not working and she wanted her own business. And I said, well, what do you want to do? What do you want? She's like, I've always wanted a thrift shop. Okay. Found her building, signed the lease paperwork on it. You now have a thrift shop. I'm here over here wrenching on cars, doing my thing, and people started donating washers, dryers, refrigerators, stoves, you name it. And at the end of the day, she told me, hey, someone donated a set. They might need some work. Can you check it out? So I had my buddy wire up 220, 240, and we started testing them, figuring them out. And I said to myself, this is easy. This is, coming from an automotive background, I said, this is really, really easy. And I started noticing they were leaving the door quickly. I mean, that was like the number one thing that would sell out of the thrift shop. Washers, dryers, and bunk beds. Believe it or not, bunk beds are huge. Yeah, that's a huge
market
thing.
for bunk beds.
Yeah,
I never would have guessed that.
Yeah, bunk beds are. I actually sold one yesterday. We had one in our house.
A bunk bed?
And I put it up and it was gone in 2 hours. Crazy. And I said to myself, hold on, washers and dryers, great money. So I was actually selling washers and dryers out of the auto repair shop at the same time. I had a couple of employees working on vehicles while I was taking care of the whole washer dryer deal, delivering after hours. And we moved here to Killeen, Texas, damn near 8 years ago. And I've been doing it full time since. I said, no more auto repairs. No need for it. This is easier, cleaner money. Way easier. That's
so did appliances outpace the automotive?
I was moving product. It wasn't popular like it is here where I'm at now, but it was moving fairly well. I mean, it was definitely between auto repair and that, I was making great money. Just too much work, way too much,
I think the best areas to sell in general, because I'm not too far from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Anytime you're around a base, people they want to get cheaper appliances. They don't want to go to Home Depot and Lowe's and buy brand new. They want to get something that because they plan on throwing it away or they even give it back. I had so many people from Wright-Pat call me and say, "Hey, we're moving out to Yasnagano,
whatever it is, right?"
Yeah.
Yasnagano,
right, Yasnagano. It's a new place, just on the map. It's just by the Gulf of America, I think.
Right next to the Gulf of America.
Yeah, they're adding it on Google Maps right now. Yeah.
No, but you're right about that. Army's about to leave. They'll reach back out to you. Hey, I'm PCSing. I'm out of here. And do you want these back, or do you want to buy them back at a reasonable price? I tell them, look, if you want your money back for these, sell them the same amount I sold them to you for. Now, I can pick them up at no cost or give you maybe 25%, 25% of what, and that's typically what I do. But you're right about that. It's insane. It's set to come back after a year or two. So
it's all about gaming. It's all about the, that's what I do a lot of times too. If people offer that, like you get that call, they're like, I bought a washer and dryer off of you 7 years ago. And I'm like, oh God, here goes this.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they're going to ask me to fix it under warranty or something. And the next thing I say is, it still works great. Love the set. Just wondering, we're getting ready to move and we don't need to take it with us. Wondering if you wanted it. And I start with, well, I can't give you much for it. No, we don't want anything for it. And I'm like, man,
just take it. We'll pay you to take it. We'll pay you. Please come get it. All right. Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Derek, what's your background? Walk us through where you came from. Who are you?
So actually started how I got into appliances. So it's a funny story. I was in prison and I was a laundry porter. Every time I was in and out of jail quite a bit.
You've been a bad boy. You were a bad boy.
Something like that. And so I would go to every time I went to jail, I'd always be a laundry porter because I learned if you're a laundry porter, you can move around the place, you can move stuff. And laundry porters always had best of everything. So I had a little experience, messing with appliances, got out here and did absolutely nothing with that. But I couldn't get a job because I was a felon. So the only job I could get that was worth anything was delivering brand new appliances for Sears and H.H. Gregg. If you guys know anything about that, that is one of the worst slave jobs in the world. And part of that would be that the only reason why that job, I made $110 a day starting out, and it sucked. But you could sell the olds off the truck at the end of the day. So anything that we would get, people's old appliances, we go sell them for $50 a piece, $40, if you went to clearance. I would watch these people and I'm like, well, if they're buying them for $50, like these old pieces of junk. I got me in a storage unit, and I started putting them in a storage unit and fixing them out of my garage. But I was mainly doing woodworking, right? And I sucked at it, but I made TikTok videos about it. And one day I was like, I got somebody wants a dryer, so I can go deliver this dryer for a couple $100. So I had my cousin record the video, and I made the video, and I got back on 2 or 3 hours later after we delivered the dryer, and the video was at like 2 million views. And I was like, no way. And it was. So then I just started going hard at it, and I was like, well, so yeah, in my garage, and I turned it into this little getaway from reality. Yeah. But what about you, Scott? How'd you get into it? I know you had something similar, right?
Yeah, I mean, so I was living in an apartment in Austin, not the nicest apartments, and they were upgrading their appliances. They had like these 1995, like the GE Hot Point.
And how long ago was this?
Yeah, 15 years ago.
Okay.
So at the time, then insert math, but they were like 20-year-old appliances.
Right. Woo. They were the landlord specials.
Yeah, but most of them just needed cleaning, right? So like these people were upgrading their appliances, putting in all new stuff. They were basically replacing it with the exact same thing, exact same level of quality. And they were throwing them literally in a dumpster. And so I worked my way in with them. I was like, well, you know, if I come and help you install the new ones, because I'm handy, like I've got a drill, you know, like
that's all you need.
Screwdriver, I don't know. And so I worked it in where I was able to do the installs, and they'd give me the appliances for free. And so
where'd you keep everything? So you're in an apartment though. So where'd you keep everything, and where'd you test everything?
So I just rented an apartment from them at the apartment complex. It was like $50 a month or something for a 1-car garage. I just stacked them up in there. I'd test them before I took them out, and then I'd just clean them up and I'd sell them. So I was getting the sets for free, and it was like a fridge, top mounted refrigerator, dishwasher, but I never sold the dishwashers. They were kind of junky.
When you first started, what was kind of like, what was your warranty basis, or did you do that, or?
So
like
those
from here to the corner?
Yeah. I mean, those, I didn't know warranties or anything. I just sold it just like that, cash.
Right.
Yeah.
But I made a pretty good chunk of change on it, and it was so easy. I was like, man, there's got to be this everywhere. And then I figured out laundry is really like where it's at on the refurb side. And so I started to learn how to refurbish things. I worked my way up to a 2-car garage. I was killing it. And then went up to a storage unit. And at the storage unit, it didn't have any electricity in it. So I had a generator. So whenever... And I put lights up at the top. So whenever a customer would come, it's just like, wah! And he's like, what? You know, terrible sales interaction. I've been through the journey. I get the struggle, man. You can start an empire from scratch in this business.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
This is the thing, right? If you see gold, you'll make gold. If you see trash, you'll make trash. Mm-hmm. So we running around picking up dryers off the curb. I mean, it sounds a little more white trash and redneck than it is.
Yeah.
But you know, it's free money. It's literally like people say all the time. I said, listen, you might be able to take me to school on an LG compressor swap, but I can show you how to pick your rent money up off the side of the road. And I want to teach people that. And I think that's like with you, like you have so much input on the group, and like I wish I could. I just feel like I've seen people get gatekeeped before, and I get nervous, so I stay away from it. But
Gabe knows everybody.
Yeah, you handle it too.
All the answers up there in the noggin.
Well, I call it white gold. And literally, appliances to me are white gold. That's what I call it. You know. And it is used appliances. It's, you know, and you tell your friends, you tell your family members about it, and they don't believe how lucrative it is. They just don't believe it. Like, how are you making a living selling used stuff? It's like, oh no, it's a thing. It really is a thing. You know,
I was like 21 at the time. At this point, so I was renting a house, and it was a 3-bedroom house, and I had 2 of the bedrooms subleased out to my buddies. So I wasn't paying anything for rent. And then the 2-car garage I was using for like the appliances and stuff. And I would literally stay home all day and play video games and just sell appliances. Nice. And my buddies would come back and they'd be like, you know, what'd you do today? You know, and I'm just sitting there playing video games. I'm like, not much, but I sold like 4 washers today. And they're just like, holy crap.
What a wad of money in your wallet. You know, like, hey, I sold some stuff today and I'm playing games. I got time for this.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, I got a good one. All right. Gabe, I'll start with you. What is the number one best piece of advice? Two things, two pieces of advice. One that you had to learn the hard way. And then two, what's one piece of advice that you were able to learn from somebody else, or, somebody else's mistake, or, that was actually applicable?
Okay, yeah. Okay, number one is what to buy and what not to buy. There are certain appliances, and you find out the hard way. Me being automotive background, you find out the hard way which ones to buy, what not to buy. That was number one.
Yeah.
So if you have a mentor, and ask questions. Ask. You have to. Watch YouTube videos, because it could really put a hamper in your whole operation situation when you're first starting out.
That's one you learned the hard way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So what's right, which I think most people do, which is like that's kind of the basis of our podcast. We're trying to help people. So anybody that wants to do this, we can teach them how not to have it done the hard way. Okay. Exactly. Now, what's one piece of advice or one lesson you learned that you learned from a constituent, or from an advisor, mentor, or something like that?
Well, I'll tell you. Okay, so here's a good one. So the whole suspension rod refurb, right? One of my buddies by the name of Elio Gonzalez, that actually sells here in this town too, where I'm at, right? He told me about it. He's like, dude, everyone in these Latin American countries, South America and all that, it has been rebuilding these suspension rods, because they can't afford buying suspension rods. There's just no way. So they figured out there was a foam insert. They figured this all out, replaced the foam. Now, obviously the grease, it's a game changer, but I learned that from him. I started doing it. I was like, this is amazing. This really is amazing. And it to me, it was a game changer learning about that and what they do in these Latin American countries. And I guess all around the world, third world type countries.
The suspension rod thing. So whenever they do the safety pins, it's just metal on metal friction.
Yeah.
Is what's slowing down providing the dampening action.
Right. I started doing it about 6 years ago. That's what I learned from when I say this guy is an appliance wizard. That's not even close to explaining how much, this guy's like the Fonzarelli of appliances. He can literally, I call him up and tell him what noise it's making. An old hot point, or a Hydrowave GE, and he says, kick it on the right side with your left elbow, give it 3 taps on the back panel, and hit start and lean it to the left. And sure enough, every time, and it works perfect.
He's like the Highlander. He's like the Highlander of appliances, right?
Dude,
there can only be one,
Yeah. What about you, Scott? What's what's one good piece of information that you learned the hard way, and one that you learned from somebody that knew before you?
So when I went through, I've been through all phases of appliances. Where I'm at now is we're 90% scratch and dent, and we don't do much refurbishing. But whenever I was first just refurbish only, just use stuff, I would refurbish everything under the sun. If I could get my hands on it, I'm going to fix it and I'm going to sell it no matter what. And I did that with literally everything.
Wow.
Dishwashers. I would go to I got really good at GE Hydrowaves, and everyone else is like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I can get a bunch of them, for free. They may take me longer, but I can do it. Yeah. But I never really equated what my labor rate actually cost me and what my scalability was. Those GE Hydrowaves, I was getting in, I could rebuild the mode shifters in those super easy. I'll make a video on it if someone is out there refurbishing GE Hydrowaves. I don't recommend it, but if that's you, I'll show you how to do it.
Wow. Ooh, that's just a good video to watch.
Yeah, thermal fuse. There's a thermal fuse in the wire harness that a lot of people don't know inside of that black tape.
Wow.
There's all sorts to the Hydrowaves, but stuff like that, it just doesn't, it takes too much time. I ran into the issue whenever I wanted to scale, right? So our appliance store, we were doing about $2 million in sales, 100% refurbished, 100%. And that was a lot. We had 4 or 5 full-time technicians that were just running behind us doing service on the warranties that we had, 1-year warranty that we'd give. And it's just the nature of the business, and we couldn't scale it. And so what we did is we took a step back and we figured out what washer dryers were the best to refurbish. And we focused on groups, but it's the same concept. So when you're talking about scalable, I was able to teach, a small group of people really easy how to perfect those.
Yeah.
And, versus the other way I was doing it, I had to teach them 50 different, appliance types and categories.
Yeah.
And
Right.
It's just
Gotta
rough.
retain all that info, retain it, and that's the hard part, right? And what this other stuff, it's super easy. It's always a belt, a basket bushing, suspension rods, a lid lock, simple stuff.
There's two different kinds of people in refurbished world. This is what I always say. There's Whirlpool people, and then there's GE people. You are not both. Nobody is. But if you're both, you're a rare breed, and you don't make videos about it.
I could do both.
No. Doing both and mastering one or the other is different, because I do them all.
The same thing.
Yeah, me too. All of them.
So like the GEs, the GTWs are basically a VMAX from Whirlpool. It's the same style without the stator on it. But like the way that the drums assemble, you have a lock nut inside of it.
Yeah. No basket bushing, none of that stuff.
Yeah, like sometimes like the basket will inside it'll get all it'll like rot out, and you can't fix that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's something that you learned from somebody else that you wish you would have known off the start?
So if you go into a customer's home and you look at a water valve or anything like that, and there's any amount of rust on it, don't touch it.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Just leave. Just go home. Just be like, sorry, we can't do this today.
Yep.
Or let the customer do it. Yeah, I don't remember who I learned it from, but it was a policy somewhere, and I'm like, oh, it's probably a pretty good idea. And literally the next day or within a week or so, I went on this service call. Or no, it was a delivery, and it was a front load washer dryer. I'll never forget. It's that Whirlpool like Merlot set,
Damn.
pedestals. You know what I'm talking about? Whirlpool.
Heavy, like 800 pounds.
Yeah, super heavy.
Yeah.
Something crazy.
I get the dryer in. I always do the dryer first because I'm kind of a big guy. I can't get behind it. So I hook up the dryer, I go get the washer, I'm bringing it in, and bam, right there, rust all over the cold water inlet valve. And I'm like, no, man, I'm not doing it. And I tell the guy, I'm like, hey, there's rust here. I can take these out and give you your money back. I can't take that risk, because if I take those hoses off and I'd put the new ones on, there could be some huge issues there. And he's like, oh, no worries, I'll do it. And I'm like, all right. And so like I get out of the way, and he gets back there, and like literally this is the first delivery after I decided I was going to do this. And like he goes and he puts his hand on the little spinner thing, and whenever he starts to spin it, like it just stops. Like he's now freely spinning it. It's just like it's just water, and his laundry room was inside of his pantry. It's kind of weird. So like all of his clothes and stuff or all of his food and stuff were on shelves in there. And there's it's like a fire hydrant just went off inside of this place. There's water everywhere. And so I'm holding, my thumb on the little hole as hard as I can. And he's running around freaking out, where he thought where the water shut off was not it. And he couldn't find it for, I don't know, 5-6 minutes. That's a long time when there's just
a lot of water,
ton of water,
lots of water.
By the way, like, just so you know, just so everyone out there knows, you don't put thread tape on a water line.
I literally just went over that with listen, every time I get a washing machine and it's got thread tape. I had a plumber one time when I was delivering for Costco, and he comes in and he was like, I'll let me put this thread tape. I was like, no, you don't need that. This guy says
side of it is what makes the seal.
It will do the opposite. It can cause it to leak if you use thread tape where there is a rubber seal. That's the whole point. It's not like a gas.
I see it on so many of these hallways. Like I'd say like 25% of them have thread tape on.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. Who's doing this?
And then I get OCD, and I gotta pick all of it off. Like,
grab a pick, maybe a little pick, and just kind of
that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, so that makes it singular on product types. Don't refurbish everything under the sun.
Yeah.
Don't do it, yes.
Yeah. And to go back to that again, like there's so many benefits to it. Like if we were doing swaps, you streamline like the refurbishing. Yeah. You made like an assembly lines type thing, because you're doing
you got a part stock.
Part stock so much easier. Warranties, like we just swap it out. Like,
exactly.
The customer likes it.
You're not going out and fixing it. You just swap it, and it's the same exact thing. Yes. So that's my favorite thing.
Inventory.
That's exactly what I love to do that. I don't have it, not as much like how you have it all the same, but anytime I can, that's what I do. I just do a swap. There's you're not wasting time.
Yep. Just swap it. Yep. Unless it's something simple like a lid lock or something. You know.
Yeah.
Derek, what's yours? What's the thing that you've learned the hard way?
So because there's so many good because I learned a lot of things the hard way, but I learned more things the easy way because just my brain was a little more mature. But I will say this is my biggest, I think the biggest money loss was with stoves. So I would take, I would buy nice stoves or take nice stoves. But then I'd find myself, I couldn't fix it. So, and if it's not a broken element, and if I ohm it out and the element's fine and I know it's the board. So what I would do is I would strip the whole thing and I would keep parts and sell parts on eBay. It's not necessarily that it's a hard lesson learned, but I learned it down the road. Somebody told me eventually, is I rebuild stove boards now. I rarely have a stove that does not go out. I mean, I'm talking about Samsung double oven slide ins that I can sell for $800, $900, $1,000. And I got a $250 solder station, and it's made me easy. It's made me $50,000.
Good turnaround. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. And
what is it typically, like relays and stuff like that that go bad with the stove boards?
That's
right?
it. So,
yeah, relays,
here, matter of fact, I'll show you one that's clear. You can see it.
Yeah, I'll swap over relays sometimes and micro switches and stuff like that, to bring back old front loads or whatever it is.
I never really mess with them.
No.
So check this out.
Bit, but not.
This is a Frigidaire stove board. This is the transformer. This is what, the line voltage comes in and it turns it into DC voltage. But this is you'll have your bake relay, your broil relay, and then, depending on if you have convection or whatnot. So these relays, they'll either get weakened over time or
the contacts.
The contacts, right? They build up from arcing. They'll build up.
It looks all charred up. There's no way you can bring that back.
I can bring that one back. I could bring it.
Replacing,
it's like it caught on fire.
This one's done.
This one is dead.
Oh man.
Oh no, I could bring that right back.
6-month warranty and everything.
Right, 1 year warranty. That's amateur stuff.
Oh,
that's
next.
Arson. There's a Facebook group out there. What is it? The Appliance Re-Engineers, I think, or the Re-Engineer. I mean, that's what they do. They do board repairs, and there's a really smart guy in there. Let me pull it up. I'm a fan of this dude because we've been playing with the Whirlpool. What is it? The 465 boards. I mean, a huge issue.
That's a hot topic. That's the trending topic right now. All the 23, 24 Whirlpool models.
Oh, I got one literally right now.
That's the trend right now.
But here's the thing, right? A guy dropped it off because I'll do in-store work. If you drop it off, then I take off the service fee, so it's a lot cheaper. And the guy just bought one of those boards for $40, and it was from Encompass.
No, it's the main control board to like a Whirlpool top load agitator washer.
Which Whirlpool? What washer?
The 465, right?
Yeah, it goes into flood mode. Basically, that flood mode that never stops. It just keeps. It just stays in flood mode.
A burnt capacitor. Yeah, burnt capacitor on the board.
Is that what it is? Because no one's found a fix yet. Nobody has found a fix.
So I got are you talking about when the pump just keeps going and going and going?
Yeah.
So it's a blown capacitor. It's a little blue capacitor on a board.
Trying it. So there's also a Triac. There's this guy Mike Carlson. So the name of the group is Re-Engineers. There's this guy Mike Carlson that is.
I'm gonna join it right now.
What is that called?
Genius, man.
What's the group called? Let me write this down.
Re-Engineers, and I've been following this guy. I messaged him a couple times too on this Whirlpool one, but the dude knows his game.
When I get a hold of one next, I'm gonna do a reflow.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever heard of reflowing? I'm gonna try.
You told me about it.
What is it?
So when you're reflow, I used to reflow vehicle modules, control modules. And that would sometimes bring them back to life. Faulty modules in vehicles. So
I don't think it's that.
No?
No, like so we've had there's a is it called a Triac or something on there?
Yeah, Triac. Yep.
So like from the main UI processor, we kind of traced out the line, and there's a Triac on that line, there's a diode, a capacitor, and then you have the pressure switch, and they're all in one line. And we've been receiving some of these boards to try and play with it. And we found all sorts of different ones. Some are burned out.
Wow.
Some are doing the same symptom, and it's just the pressure switch. Like, we haven't figured out exactly what the root cause is. And unfortunately, I think it's probably that processor. But What's your lesson that you learned from someone else?
So I sold this lady a direct drive, and I remember I had to carry it up the steps by myself in a really nice house in Springboro. And yeah, she looked underneath of it and saw the cobwebs. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't represent the machine though, just letting you know. And I cleaned it really good. If you've ever had a direct drive, because it has to do with the spin basket, but what it would do is it would spin and it would like clank, right? And I can't, so I'm like, oh, that's it, just new transmission. So I throw a new transmission in there.
The brake
same thing.
The brake, right? Bam.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So right. That's what I thought. I thought it needed a new clutch band. So, I put it, I tightened up the clutch band.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Washers.
That's it. Yeah. What are they? Number 10 or number 8? Number 8. Yeah. And then put a new transmission in it. Same thing. Put a new spin tube in it. New clutch. Same thing. Put a new capacitor in it. Same thing. Put a new motor in it. Same thing. Put a new time. I literally rebuilt this entire washing machine. And then finally, after like 4 times going out to her house, I'm like, listen, I'm just going to bring you another washer. And I even said, I made a big funny post
the first time.
Yeah. So this was before I had a store. This was just by myself. So
you were trying to make it right.
That was it. She loved that washing machine. And I had convinced her that it's the last washing machine she'll ever buy. She was a little bit older. So I was wrong. And so you know what it was? Do you know what it was?
Neutral drain?
The brake, right?
No, it was the drive block. A rusted drive block will show the same symptoms as a stuck drain pump.
So it had a little bit of playing it, boom, right? There's some playing it, right? The drive block.
No, so what happens? So when that drive block is on there, and so it's mainly in the biggest. I don't know why I haven't figured this out. But the biggest culprits are Kenmore Elite with all the stupid hoses that go everywhere in the front. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
That was the beginning of the end where they started to just get fancy.
Yeah,
it was. Had the sound deadening material at the bottom and all that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, had the sound. Yeah, which my buddy of mine told me he sold one of those for $75. I was like, we're talking about something different, right? He's like, no, the little pad on the bottom, sound pad.
It's just like dishwasher insulation.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, so a rusty drive block specifically on Kenmore Elites, but any Whirlpool direct drive.
Direct drive, yep.
Yes. People call me all the time and ask what's the best, like they say, hey, I watch your YouTube videos. What can you tell me what the best brand of washer? It's not that you don't go by brand. It's
by model.
It's by model. Right. Model of brands. Right. And but this is the thing, just because direct drives are good for one thing, right? Mm-hmm. 6 lights are good for another thing. And people have a hard time understanding the whole point of sacrificial parts. And I think that's where like we could incorporate that and really bring people to light to see why it's not bad that it goes out in 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's actually good.
It's serviceable.
It's serviceable.
Right. People look at those like, well, I mean, so like without the basket bushing and without the suspension rod, rebuild kit,
then it would be like, ugh,
I mean, then they would be disposable. But with those two things, I mean, there's not really any barriers that stop you from refurbishing it. If the gear case goes out, that's the only thing really that doesn't allow us to refurbish it. You know, there's a right way to do things and then there's a hack way to do things. Yeah. And you're not just looking for that short-term sale. Right. And I feel like a lot of people, when you start off, it's kind of tempting, but
it is.
Do it.
I mean, I've always been the kind, like, that's why I can't be a used car salesman, because that's why I don't make much money doing this, because I'm too honest, and I'll tell people, I don't tell them what they want to hear. I tell them what they need to hear. But, like it's even lid switch bypasses. That's why I don't do direct drives anymore. I can't get lid switches. I mean, I'm not going to pay for them. And I don't sell anything that does not function the way it's supposed to function, the way it left the factory.
You know what? I'm guilty of doing that in the past. I'm not going to lie. Very guilty of it.
Yeah.
Bypassing the lid switches.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like as long as you give, which I do too, but I don't do it without their knowledge. So
on the same subject, do y'all know what that little part of what you call a 6 light or a VMW washer, where it locks the lid, unlocks the lid, rotates?
Child lid lock algorithm.
It's not a self-test, is it? It's not a self-test. No?
It's not sensing. To my knowledge, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but
no, it's not sensing. It's called a child lid lock algorithm. That's what it says in the.
Okay.
It's to scare the kids out of the washer. Get out of there.
There we go.
Before it's about to
quick, get out. Yeah.
So anyways, this has been another episode of Appliance Fix and Flip. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.